What's up, fellas? In the first video of the day, we're going to be talking about the most overlooked NBA rookie in this class. And it's a class that has a variety of different really interesting guys, right? The potential and the upside of James Wiseman and what that means for possible trades for the Warriors down the road. The probable rookie of the year in Anthony Edwards is putting up really good overall volume scoring statistics. LaMelo Ball had an awesome rookie year prior to injury, and unfortunately, it's been kind of cut short. But Patrick Williams is a guy that for whatever reason doesn't get talked about enough. And every single time you watch this guy play, I personally walk away impressed. We're going to talk about what he brings to the table, why he's being overlooked, what it means for Chicago. This is just going to be a Patrick Williams appreciation video in the first video of the day. But really quickly before we get started, if you enjoy content like this, then consider subscribing. I upload twice a day, every single day on this channel. It's the most consistent NBA content on YouTube. If you're new here, by the way, what's up? My name is Tucker. If you liked the video, leave a like rating, check the socials and the Linktree link down in the description below. With those things said, let's just talk about Patrick Williams, right? So when you go and look at his statistics, they're not going to blow you away, right? Especially in comparison to some people like Ball or like Anthony Edwards, or again, the overall upside and potential of someone like James Wiseman. But it was clear in this class that going into it, at least, it was a three-player class for most people: Edwards, Ball, and Wiseman. And then after that, everything was kind of up in the air. But Patrick Williams, for whatever reason, people continue to overlook, partially probably because the statistical production is not anything mind-blowing, right? But here are some things that I really like about Patrick Williams, okay? Defensively, he has all the tools to be an awesome defensive player, like all defensive caliber defensive guy. I mean, he's got the length, the athleticism, the quickness, the size. You know, he can guard multiple positions. He has the quickness to guard smaller guys, the strength and the size to guard some of the bigger wings in the league. And, you know, down the road at some point, he might even be able to be a true small ball five and be able to protect the rim as well. There's nothing this guy can't do defensively long term throughout his career. The sky is truly the limit defensively for him. And even when you're talking so much about potential here, there have been moments as well this year where, like, there's tangible, really great defensive stuff right now before he even really figures out how to guard at the NBA level, and all the small little things that these guys do offensively that you can't kind of fall into the trap of. He hasn't even gotten an opportunity to figure that stuff out yet, and he's already incredible defensively, and you have to love that in a league increasingly that's becoming very specialized. Having someone like Patrick Williams that can play on both ends of the floor and potentially do so very well is never a bad thing. We've seen kind of the impact of guys like that, you know, on the Nuggets specifically with Jeremy Grant, who we're going to talk about a little bit later, and Aaron Gordon. Guys like that are what Patrick Williams could potentially strive to be, but then even better than that throughout the rest of his career because of that versatility and that defensive ability that he does have. Now, on the offensive end of the floor, it's not necessarily the most refined game. Like, there are still some things that he needs to work through and solve and develop, but there's a smoothness to it, right? Like, this guy isn't a stiff. At times, there have been players that have come into the league and have been good defensively and been good athletes, but they haven't quite had a fluidity to their offensive game, and it made you nervous pretty much immediately that they might never become like a truly fluid wing type scorer. And, you know, despite the stats not being great, Patrick Williams has shown a lot of that smoothness and a lot of that fluidity, and he's one of those guys that was a high school point guard before his senior year growth spurt, whatever, then he goes on to Florida State. So he has some perimeter skill there that I think is only going to continue to get better. You know, it's interesting because at times it's almost like he's left-handed. He's more comfortable at times going to his left, but regardless, there's a foundation there to work with Patrick Williams. You're not literally starting from scratch. There's a bit of a mid-range game there. The three-point shooting stuff has been better than you would have expected it to be from a percentage standpoint, about 38%, albeit only 2 shot attempts per game. So that's kind of a positive negative, right? He's not a great offensive player, but there's signs that he could become one. And then last up, and I think this is really critical, it doesn't really seem as though he cares if he does or does not shoot a lot in a particular game. He doesn't have a ton of shot attempts per game. You could argue he should have more, but from game to game, granted, he's just a rookie, so maybe he just kind of feels like he's in his place and his role right now. But from game to game, there never seems to be frustration. He never seems to be forcing it. There never seems to be a situation where he's like, I haven't taken a shot this quarter and I've guarded the other team's best player for the last 9 minutes. When am I going to get a shot attempt? There never feels like there's any selfishness here from Patrick Williams. And oftentimes we talk about unselfishness as it relates to playmaking and assists, but there's also something to be said for a guy that just goes out there and doesn't care if he shoots or not. And there's that mindset at times for Patrick Williams, almost to a fault. I'm sure there are Bulls fans that have watched games this year and thought, man, I would really love to see Patrick Williams shoot 15 times in a game one time. But, you know, from a mentality standpoint, it makes me feel better about him as a prospect that he doesn't feel the need to force it. And as a guy that's going to play within the team concept, that's a hugely positive thing for me, especially from a guy that still has work to do offensively. He knows who he is and he feels comfortable with who he is, and that is such a huge thing. And again, just at 19 years old, which is kind of crazy. Now, in terms of some of the negatives, he obviously needs to improve his offensive game as a whole. There's a foundation, but that's pretty much all there is. It's very basic level offensive skills. And for him to be like a future all-star type guy, he's going to need to develop, all those things to really be that guy. Like I said, the shooting's been better than expected, but the volume isn't quite there. He can get to the free throw line more as well. He's only at like 2 free throw attempts per game. With a guy with his level of athleticism and a bit of a handle as well, you'd expect to see him at the line a little bit more often. That should continue to improve as he gets more on-ball opportunities and is just a bigger part of the offense as well. It needs to cut down a little bit on the turnovers as well. He's averaging just as many assists as he is turnovers. I understand he's not going to be a huge playmaking type guy. There is that unselfishness there, but the turnovers need to be cut down in a significant way as it relates, to his ratio of assists as well. But again, this guy doesn't turn 20 years old until August. Like, he is going to go through his entire rookie season at 19 years old, and the potential and the quality of his play as well is kind of crazy, you know what I mean? Especially on a Bulls team that really needs the stuff that he provides. There's not a lot of two-way guys on this roster. There's not a lot of players that are helping you offensively and defensively, and he's become a weirdly critical part of a Bulls team that has talent but hasn't really been able to put it together. He's been about as much of a glue guy as a rookie as you could possibly ever expect one to be. And he's validated that 4th overall selection, at least in my eyes, amongst a class of players where, guys are kind of all over the place. And for a week, you think that this guy should have been drafted higher, than the next week they fall all the way back down. Patrick Williams has been steady, he's been consistent, and it's clear that there's a desire to improve there that is going to really carry him far in the NBA, in my opinion. Positionally, there is a slight concern here for me. It's not a huge deal, and certainly not as big of a deal as it would have been in the past in the NBA, but trying to understand, is he a 3, is he a 4, is all just going to depend on how much he develops his offensive skill set. If he becomes a strictly off-ball shooter type guy, then he can probably run a lot at the 4. If he becomes a guy that is going to have the ball in his hands a little bit more and create and play make, then he's probably going to be a bit more of a 3. But ultimately, I think it depends more on the players you put around him than anything else. And if you put guys around him that can shoot, ultimately his skill set can just be, I'm going to go out there and do everything. And even if I'm not an outstanding shooter long-term in my career, we can figure it out, right? Like, that's that Jeremy Grant, that Aaron Gordon mold that he's kind of progressing towards. And that is what I would kind of evaluate him as right now. I think the ideal situation scenario for the career of Patrick Williams is a higher upside version of what Jeremy Grant has been this year in Detroit, which is an all-star caliber guy, by the way, and someone that is going to compete defensively and in the correct situation can be the best defensive player on your team, provide you a ton of versatility, go out there and score 15, 16 points per game, be at the rim, knock down some perimeter jump shots. Or, depending on the situation, maybe he can be a 20-point per game scorer, which is increasingly easier, by the way, to be a 20-point per game scorer in the NBA, while being a really, really good defensive player, but maybe not on the same level that he would be normally if he wasn't asked to do so much offensively. But the bottom line is, this is a guy that needs to be talked about more. I know that it hasn't been the ideal season for Chicago this season. There are parts of their year that they definitely expected to go much, much better. But strictly when you're evaluating the rookie year of Patrick Williams, I'm not sure what else you could have expected if you're a Bulls fan, apart from a little bit more offensive production. And I think that only stems from, 1, the other offensive talent that's already on the roster, and 2, relatively limited aggressiveness that I actually see more as a positive than I do a negative. He's not going to play outside of his role for now. Once you ask him to, maybe he will. But ultimately, apart from some more gaudy stats, I'm not really sure what else you would have hoped for out of Patrick Williams, and he is certainly being overlooked as a rookie. Like I said, there's flashier names out there. Anthony Edwards, LaMelo Ball, James Wiseman. Even guys like Saddiq Bey, I feel like, are getting more, attention than someone like Patrick Williams, which is fine. Saddiq Bey's had a really good rookie season. But this guy is someone that people need to pay attention to. He's going to be a really good NBA player for a long time, and how good he becomes really just depends on his ability to develop those offensive skills, again, at just 19 years old, to become a well-rounded, all-around guy in that Aaron Gordon, Jeremy Grant mold, potentially with an even higher upside than either of those guys. So a really exciting guy to watch continue to develop over the next couple of years. And again, ironically, someone that a lot of people were surprised to see be selected at 4th overall by Chicago. But yeah, that's going to be the end of the first video of the day, and I thank you guys very much for watching. Once again, my name is Tucker. If you missed any of my previous videos, then be sure to check out the boxes on screen. I upload twice a day, every day on this channel. You can leave a like rating on the videos as well if you're enjoying them, and you can check me out at various socials and a Linktree link down in the description below. With all those things said, hope you guys have an awesome rest of your day, and I will see you all next time.